Now, there are quite a number of documentation styles. MLA is one of them. Now, by the way, MLA stands for Modern Language Association. So it is such a common acronym that we often do not think about its detailed name. So the detailed name is Modern Language Association. So as I said, it is one of the documentation styles. There are other documentation styles as well. What you need to know is that all the documentation styles have their own unique way to provide documentation or to provide citation to the resources that you use. In other words, we can say that each documentation style has its own unique style of referencing. Okay, so you might like to note down the word reference as well. So we provide reference to all those resources that we use for a particular paper that we write. For this course, you are learning MLA documentation style. For the second course in the series, which is called Writing and Communication 2 or Writing and Communication 102, you will be learning another style, that is called APA style. Apart from MLA and APA, there are other styles as well. You people will be learning those styles later on in the, probably in the third year of your degree, when you learn the research methods for your major. Okay. Now, any particular documentation style that you have learned, you should use that, and you should use that consistently. By that, I mean, you shouldn't switch between styles. If you learn MLA and you want to use MLA, then just use MLA for the whole article, for one particular document. Okay. So for this paper that you are writing, APA is called Argument Analysis Paper, AAP. For argument analysis paper of 500 or 600 words, you should use MLA documentation style. All right. Any questions so far? Is the background clear to you all? Any questions about it? Okay. If no question, I'll just proceed to the presentation. Give me a minute, please. Okay, so MLA documentation style. So general order for work cited and references. So basically, when you take an idea from a source, or you take a quotation from a source and put that in your own paper, you have to provide reference for that particular idea or for that particular quote. You have to provide reference for that at the bottom of the article. You might recall from the previous lecture when I was discussing argument analysis paper with reference to 2 editorials, I showed to you that in the second article, the article published on NASA's website, there were quite a number of references. So, for example, I led you through the reference number 10, and I showed to you that along with number 10, in connection with number 10, there is a reference under the reference list, which was listed at number 10. And then I clicked it, the link open, and I showed to you which article had been quoted over there. So why did the author use that reference? Because the idea with which that number was written, number 10, that idea was taken from that particular article. Exactly in the similar manner, when you use those editorials for your argument analysis paper, you will be writing your own essay of 500 to 600 words, right? But remember that you are using those two editorials for the sake of your analysis. So it is quite natural that you will be referring to various ideas from those two editorials. Therefore, you will have to provide citation as well. You cannot just describe the idea without naming the author, or you cannot just describe the idea without referring to the editorial from where that idea has been taken. All right. So that means you will be writing the references at the bottom of your article. References of those sources from where you took the ideas. What will be your resources? Those two editorials or opinion pieces that you will be using for your analysis. Okay, now when you write the reference at the bottom, you might wonder, how would you do that? So the first kind of standard principle that you should keep in mind, that all the elements in the reference, all the elements in the reference are in a particular order. So first learn what is that order. You should be able to see right on your screen. So here is the order. The first thing you write in that reference could be 2 or 3 lines. I'll show you quite a number of references in the next slides. So the first thing that you write in the reference is the name of the author. And then after that, title of that particular source. You might remember that the Guardian article had the title, Climate Change is a Myth, something like that. So that was the title of the source. Source is the editorial from where you take the ideas. That is the source. So the second thing you write in the reference is the title of the source. Third thing that you write in the reference is title of the container. Now this is an interesting word, container, which MLA organization has suggested. So the word container means the bigger thing where you found this particular source. For example, that article on climate change was the source where we found it from the Guardian. So the Guardian is the container which contained that particular source. All right. After container, you write any contributors other than the author. Sometimes you have an editor and you want to write the name of that editor. After that, you write the version. Especially if you are using any book in hard copy form, books usually have versions. There could be an abridged version of a book. There could be an authoritative version of a book. You won't be using number 5 element much at this level, not even at the level of your, WRCM 1 or 2. Okay. But in the advanced courses, in your third and fourth year, probably you will come across a few books which might have their versions. Okay. But if there is a version, then mention it after contributors at number 5. The 6th number that you mention in the reference is the number. What is a number? Number means the number of a particular periodical. All journals and periodicals, they do have their number. It is often called issue number. Sometimes it is called volume number. If the source from where you are quoting, if that source is published in a journal, then that journal must have its number, must have its issue number, must have its volume number. You mention the numbers at 6 number in the reference. Number 7, publisher, and then you mention the publisher. Publisher is the body that prints and publishes a particular piece of writing. Number 8, you write the publication date. Usually the online resources have the publication date right on the front page on the top. And then finally, location. Location is the place where that piece was published. Usually online resources do not have a location other than the website. So for online resource, the location would be the website. So you can provide a link over there. But for offline resource, the location is like from which city that book was published. Was it New York City or Lahore? Now you might notice over here, there is a punctuation mark after each category. After author, you see a period. After title of source, you see a period. After title of container, you see a comma. After other contributors, comma, version, comma, number, comma, publisher, comma, publication date, comma, location, a period. Now, these punctuation marks are the actual punctuation marks that you should put in the complete reference as well. So when you write the name of the author, after the name of the author, in the reference, you will put a period. When you write title of source, after the title of source, you will put a period. When you write title of container, don't put a period after the title of container, rather put a comma. So on and so forth. After the location, you put a period. Now, I'm going to go over each of these elements one by one through further slides. Now, about the author. So you begin your reference with the author's name, but in such a manner that you should put last name first, and then put a comma after the last name, and then put the rest of the name as that name is mentioned in that particular book or on that particular article that you are using for your paper. And then you end this element with a period. That is, when the name is complete, then put a period after that. You already know it from the previous slide. Okay. Now let's see this example. Now, Bhaba, comma, Homi, K, period. This is the name of the author. The original name of the author is Homi K. Bhabha. But as the rule is, the last name comes first, then a comma, and then the rest of the name, whatever it is. The rest of the name might have one part in it, might have two parts in it, might have three parts in it, doesn't matter. But whatever the rest of the name is, we just put the rest of the name after comma and then a period. All right. Now this is the whole reference written. I use this reference. I'm using this reference just to explain to you how to put the author's name. Okay, we will discuss more in the next slides. Title of the sources or title of the source. There are two ways to put the titles. Either you put the title in italics or in quotation marks. So how to know what comes in italics and what comes in quotation marks? Look here. Whenever we write title of a book, we put that in italics. Example is right here. According to this example, the last name of the author comes first, Henley, comma, Patricia, period, full stop, or Patricia, period.
Sir, I apologize for coming late.
Okay, we are in the middle of the lesson, that's fine. So, Henley, Patricia, a period. Now, this is what I want you to see. The Hummingbird House. This is title of the book. Therefore, it appears in italics. Let's proceed further. A web page should be in quotation marks. A book is in italics, but a web page should be in quotation marks. However, the parent website, which MLA treats as container, should follow in italics. Now, for example, the climate change article on The Guardian that you people saw, or maybe the other article on NASA website that you people saw. In the case of the climate change article on NASA website, the title of the article will appear in inverted commas. However, the name of the website, which is NASA, that will just appear in italics. Let's understand it in another way. Suppose you open up opinion page of the Daily Dawn. You might have noticed so far, if you have browsed a few newspapers, that the websites of almost all the newspapers, they have quite a number of buttons right on the home page. And you can browse through those buttons. As you click one particular button, a new web page is open for you. And that new web page might have a lot of resources under it. For example, the opinion page or the web page of the opinions will have quite a number of opinion articles from many months and years. Now that is called a web page. This particular rule, which we are focusing on right now, it tells us that even the web page should be treated as a title which comes in inverted commas. All right, so the web page of opinions on the website of a newspaper will be put in inverted commas, while the overall name of the website, so the name of the website of the Daily Dawn is dawn.com. So dawn.com is the title of the overall website. That appears in italics. But any one page on the whole website will appear in italics. So here is an example. This particular example. So first of all, you have name of the author. Second name comes first, last name comes first, and then first a rest of the name, and then a period. Now over here, this is just a web page. How to make vegetarian chili. All right. And then over here, how. This is the name of the website. Anybody can access it. You can also access it. There should be a space here. Yeah. Now look at eHow. This is the name of the website overall. Okay. So the page is mentioned in inverted commas like this, but the website is mentioned in italics. Let's move to the next rule over here. A periodical article should be in quotation marks. Any article which is published in a periodical, what do we mean by a periodical? A journal, a magazine, a newspaper. So most probably the piece of writing that you people are going to use for your argument analysis paper, that will be a periodical. And you will be using an article from that periodical. Therefore, you will put the title of that particular article in inverted commas. That article could be an editorial, that could be an opinion page, that could be a piece of analysis, that could be a news item too. All right. Let's proceed. Here is the example. Now this is the name of the author in reverse order. The last name comes first and then the rest of the name, then a period. And this is the title of the article, starting from here till here. Okay, conflicting nationalism, and then it continues. The whole of it is the title of the article. And right after that, Tulsa Studies in Women's Literature, that is the title of the journal from where this article has been taken. The last rule over here is a song or piece of music also appears in quotation marks. On the other hand, the album, the overall album by a particular artist, by a particular singer, or by a particular musician, the title of the album appears in italics. So over here, you might see, so name of the artist, and then we have the title of the song, Pray You Catch Me, and then we have the name of the album, Lemonade. All right, it appears in italics. There is last additional rule over here that we include URLs when citing online sources. Okay, this is something almost obvious, but this is what we must know. I told this thing to you on the first slide as well, that URL is treated as location for online resources. Okay. So let's proceed. After title of sources to title of containers. So what are the containers? Containers are the larger wholes. So if you take an article from a website, the article is called a source, while the website is called the container. If you take a story from a story collection book, then the story collection book is the container, while the story is your source. Let's see this example. Kincaid, Jamaica, this is name of the author. Girl is name of the story. The Vintage Books of Contemporary American Short Stories, it is the container. In the case of a television series, which is made up of episodes, the television series is treated as a container because there are multiple episodes within it. Here is an example, 94 Meetings, and then Parks and Recreation. A website which contains...
So Peaky Blinders, How I Met Your Mother, Friends.
What is it?
I'm telling you about the names of there's Friends, Peaky Blinders, then there's How I Met Your Mother, And then there is the other one about drugs. I can't get it. I'll think of it and let you know then.
Is it about what?
You were asking about the series, right? You were giving
Oh,
us the examples. I gave you more examples.
yeah, that is right. They are nice.
Breaking Bad.
Okay, yeah. I'm sure you know many more examples. I'm sure you know them. Yeah, the only thing I'm telling you over here,
Marvels, Avengers,
yeah, the only thing I'm telling you right
Captain
now is,
America,
yeah.
Iron Man.
So those series are treated as the container, while the individual episodes within that, uh, or individual videos within that, they are treated as episodes, or small parts of it. Yeah. So a website which contains articles, postings, and other works, that website is also treated as a container. Again, here is an example. A container might be within a larger container. That also is a possibility. Now, you take a short.
Sherlock Holmes.
Okay, now if you find a title of Sherlock Holmes on Google Books, in that case, one title of Sherlock Holmes is the source, while the Sherlock Holmes series is a container, and Google Books is a bigger container. So this is the idea over here, that sometimes your source could be in a container, and that container could lie in another container. Right? So that is what we should be aware of. So in that case, both of the containers are put in italics for the sake of citation. All right. If you see this particular example, Langhammer Clare, name of the author. Love and Courtship in mid-20th century England is name of an article. It is an article, it is a source. So the first container it has is called Historical Journal. It is title of a journal. And the second container it has is
Like Anne Frank?
I didn't,
So is it more like Anne Frank?
I don't know about
In
that.
World War II, Anne Frank, her biography.
Okay, so where do you find that biography? Online? On Amazon?
E- Uh, it's kind of famous. I actually read it from our university's library.
Which
I had
library?
nothing better to do.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. It was
Okay,
sad.
okay. Yeah. But what we are trying to understand over here is that that one particular book could be, within a bigger container. For example, uh, you might find it on any online library. So when you are citing any source from that particular book, you should mention both of those containers. So my example over here was referring to the same thing, that historical journal is the journal from where you took this article, and historical journal is archived by ProQuest, which is a website. So a website hosting a journal, and the journal hosting the title of one particular periodical. So we should know that we need to provide citation for all the containers so that our reader should be able to access the original source from where we took this article.